Yes, Vekoma is the best manufacturer. I know about the awful SOCs and the utterly painful boomerangs, but have you heard the phrase "the past is in the past"? Now look at the future. Well, look at this. Yes, Vekoma is now following in RMC's footsteps in world domination. Well, not really world domination because they haven't built a coaster in America yet, which I'll touch on later in this video. But now let's break down the coaster models and their layouts. I'm literally looking at these videos trying to find similarities, but other than ejector airtime and fast paced elements, they really have different layouts. Take notes, B&M. The only difference is if it has a launch or not, and then it has a top hat, which is on Top Gun coaster and Space Launch coaster, whatever that thing's called. I'm too lazy to look it up. All right, the restraints look good. They look like the Intamin restraints in at Hershey Park on Storm Runner and Fahrenheit. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the image is on the screen right now. Now for the question you all have been waiting for. What happened to Vekoma? To be honest, I really don't know how they switched from awful boomerangs and SLCs to making these world class rides like Phonics. They probably just hired a new CEO and just had like a change of heart and just started making these newer, like more modern coasters. Alright, I'm gonna break down the layouts for these great rides. Alright, so I'm gonna break down Phonics's layout. Starts out with the regular turn into a lift, just a pretty basic pre-lift, and then it goes into the lift. After a first good drop, it goes into the weirdest inversion I've ever seen. Then goes into a crazy ejector hill, drops down into a hardline roll, then into a double down, then to an off-axis airtime hill, then into another hardline roll, a wave turn, some more ejector airtime hills, then an outer bank into an airtime hill, then into the brakes. That's a pretty good layout, and it should be on every enthusiast's bucket list. Yeah, that's just one of their many great coasters. Alright, so Top Gun, the launch coaster, just basically does the same pre-lift, then goes into a launch, then into a weird inversion that is a non-inverting loop, then goes into a ejector hill, then into like an incline roll or whatever that thing's called, then into an in-bank turn, a heartline roll, and then another bank turn, then goes onto an airtime hill to the mid-course brake run, then goes into like a kind of drop off, but like a curved drop thing after the brake run, then into a slow inversion, then up into an airtime hill, then into a bank turn, and then to a off axis airtime hill, another bank turn, and then into the brakes. Okay, now for where they'll end up in America. Well, first, Dollywood is the obvious answer with Big Bear Mountain Coaster coming next year. But it's a family coaster. But I want to know where the good coasters are going to be located. My thought is probably a Six Flags park because the new Vekoma coasters are so cheap. Maybe St. Louis because they're closing Mr. Freeze and they need a replacement. So that's just my guess. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but if it actually does, then thank the Lord, St. Louis might actually be a decent park. In conclusion of this video, Vekoma has turned around their past ways, became the best coaster manufacturer in the market, See you all in the next video, and make sure to stay Hershey Park happy.